Hey, welcome back to DZ's Daily Devotions. Today we are on day 67 of our 365-day journey of reading the Bible in 1 year. That's right, 365 days, and we're getting this thing done. Thank you so much for joining along with me. We're going to be picking up where we left off in Numbers, chapter 10, verse 1. And we're reading until chapter 11, verse 23. Let's get started. Chapter 10. The Silver Trumpets. Now the Lord said to Moses, "Make 2 trumpets of hammered silver, and call for the community of Israel, and for the signaling of the breaking of camp. When both trumpets are blown, everyone must gather before you in entrance of the tabernacle. But if only 1 trumpet is blown, then the only leaders, the heads of the clans of Israel, must present themselves to you. But when you sound the signal to move on, then the tribes camped on the east side of the tabernacle must break up and move forward. When you sound the signal a second time, the tribes camped to the south will follow. When you sound the short blasts as signals for moving on. But when you call the people of Israel an assembly, blow the trumpets with a different signal. Only the priests, Aaron's descendants, are allowed to blow the trumpets. This is a permanent law for you to be observed from generation to generation. When you arrive in your own land and go to war against your enemies who attack you, sound the alarm with the trumpets. Then the Lord, your God, will remember you and rescue you from your enemies. Blow the trumpets in times of gladness too, sounding them at your annual festivals and at the beginning of each month. And blow the trumpets over your burnt offerings and peace offerings. The trumpets will remind you, the Lord, your God, of his covenant with you. I am the Lord, your God." The Israelites leave Sinai. In the 2nd year after Israel's departure from Egypt, on the 20th day of the 2nd month, the cloud lifted from the tabernacle of the covenant. So the Israelites set out from the wilderness of Sinai to travel from place to place until the cloud stopped into the wilderness of Paran. When the people set out for the first time, following the instructions the Lord had given them through Moses, Judah's troops led the way. They marched behind their banner, and their leaders were Nahshon, son of Amminadab, and they were joined by the troops of Ishkar, led by Nathaniel, son of Zur, and the troops of the tribe of Zebulun, led by Eleb, son of Elon. Then the tabernacle was taken down, and the Gershonite and Meronite divisions of the Levites were next in line of the march, carrying the tabernacle with them. Reuben's troops went sent, marching behind their banner. Their leader was Elazar, son of Shadur, and they were joined by the troops of the tribe of Simon, led by Shemuel, son of Zerish Adai, and the troops of the tribe Gad, led by Elisaph, son of Duel. Next came the Kohathite division and the Levites, carrying the sacred objects from the tabernacle. Before they arrived at the next camp, the tabernacle would already be set up at its new location. Ephraim's troops went next, marching behind their banner. Their leader was Elishama, son of Ammiel, and they were joined by the troops of the tribe of Manasseh, led by Galal, son of Pedahir, and the troops of the tribe Benjamin, led by Amidan, son of Gedoni. Dan's troops went last, marching behind their banner and serving as the rear guard for all the tribal camps. Their leader was Elazar, son of Ammishaddai, and they were joined by the troops of the tribe Asher, led by Pagel, son of Okran, and the troops of the tribe were Naphtali, led by Ephraim, son of Anan. In this way, the order of the Israelites marched division by division. One day Moses said to his brother-in-law, Hobab, son of Reuel, the Midianite, "We are on our way to the place the Lord promised you. For he said, I will give it to you. Come with us, and we will treat you well, for the Lord promised wonderful blessings for Israel." But Hobab replied, "No, I will not go. I must return to my own land and my family." "Please don't leave us," Moses pleaded. "You know the places in the wilderness and where we should camp. Come, be our guide. If you do, we'll share with you our blessings the Lord gives us." They marched for 3 days after leaving the mountain of the Lord with the ark of the Lord's covenant, moving ahead of them to show where the rest in step. As they moved each day, the cloud of the Lord hovered over them, and wherever the ark set out, Moses would shout out, "Arise, O Lord, and let your enemies be scattered. Let them flee before you." And when the ark was set down, they would say, "Return, O Lord, to the countless thousands of Israel." Chapter 11. The people complained to Moses. Soon the people began to complain about their hardship, and the Lord heard everything they said. Then the Lord's anger blazed against them, and he sent a fire rage amongst them and destroyed some of the people in the outskirts of the camp. Then the people screamed to Moses for help, and he prayed to the Lord, and the fire stopped. After that, the area was known as Taberah, because fire from the Lord had burnt among there. Then the foreign rabbi who traveled with the Israelites before they craved good things for Egypt, and the people of Israel also began to complain. "Oh, for some meat," they exclaimed. "We remember the fish we used to eat in Egypt, and we had all the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic we wanted. But now our appetites are gone, and all we see is this manna." The manna looked like small seeds, and it was pale yellow like gum resin. The people would go and gather it from the ground, and they made flour, grinding it with their hand mills or pounding it in mortars. And they boiled it in a pot and made it into flake cakes. These cakes tasted like pastries baked with olive oil. The manna came down on the camp with the dew during the night. Moses heard the family standing in the doorways of their tents whining, and the Lord became extremely angry. Moses was already aggravated, and when Moses said to the Lord, "Why are you treating me and your servants so harshly? Have mercy on me. What did I do to deserve the burden of all these people? Did I give birth to them? Did I bring them out into the world? Why did you tell me to carry them in my arms like a mother carries her baby? How can I carry them to the land you swore to give their ancestors? Where am I supposed to get the meat for all these people? To keep whining to me, saying, 'Give us meat to eat.' I can't carry all the people by myself. The load is too heavy. Is this how you intend to treat me? Just go ahead and kill me. Do me a favor and spare me the misery." Moses chooses 70 leaders. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Gather before me 70 men who are recognized as elders and leaders of Israel. Bring them to the tabernacle to stand there with you. I will come down and talk to you there. I will take some of the spirit that is upon you, and I will put the spirit in them also. They will bear the burden of the people along with you, so you won't have to carry it alone. And say to the people, 'Purify yourselves, for tomorrow you will have meat to eat.' You were whining, and the Lord heard you when you cried, 'Oh, for some meat, we better get off in Egypt.' Now the Lord will give you meat, and you will have to eat it, and it won't just be for a day or two, or 5 or 10 or 20. You will eat meat for a whole month until you gag and are sick of it, for you have rejected the Lord who was among you, and you have whined to him, saying, 'Why did we ever leave Egypt?' But Moses responded to the Lord, 'There are 600,000 foot soldiers here with me, and yet I say, I will give them meat for a whole month. Even if I butchered all our flocks and herd, would I satisfy them? Even if I caught all the fish in the sea, would that be enough?' Then the Lord said to Moses, 'Have my arm lost its power? Now you see whether or not my word comes true.'" So that's where we're going to leave off in Numbers today. Let's go ahead and move on to Mark. We're reading Mark chapter 14, verses 1 to 21. Chapter 14. Jesus anointed at Bethany. It was now 2 days after Passover and the festival of unleavened bread. The leading priests and the teachers of religious law were still looking for an opportunity to capture Jesus and secretly kill him. But the Passover celebration, they agreed, or the people may riot. Meanwhile, Jesus was in Bethany at the home of Simon, a man who had previously had leprosy. While I was eating, a woman came in with a beautiful jar, an expensive perfume from incense. She had broken the jar open and poured it over his head. Some of those at the table were indignant. "Why waste such expensive perfume?" they asked. "It could have been sold for a year's wages, and the money given to the poor." So they scoffed her harshly. But Jesus replied, "Leave her alone. Why criticize her for doing such a good thing to me? You will always have poor among you, and you can help them whenever you want. But you'll not always have me. She has done what she has could, and has anointed my body for burial ahead of time. I tell you the truth, wherever good news is preached throughout the world, this woman's deed will be remembered and discussed." Judas agrees to betray Jesus. Then Judas, one of the 12 disciples, went to the leading priests to betray Jesus. They were delighted when they heard he had come, and they promised to give him money. So they began looking for an opportunity to betray Jesus. The Last Supper. On the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, when the Passover lamb is sacrificed, Jesus asked his disciples, "Where do you want us to prepare this Passover meal for you?" So Jesus sent 2 of them to Jerusalem with these instructions. "As you go into the city, a man carrying a pitcher of water will meet you. Meet him at the house he enters. Say to the owner, 'The teacher asks, where is the guest room where I can eat the Passover meal with my disciples?' He would take you upstairs to a large room that is already set up. That is where you should prepare our meal." So 2 disciples went to the city and found everything just as Jesus said, and they prepared the Passover meal. In the evening, Jesus arrived with the 12 disciples, and they were at the table eating. Jesus said, "I tell you the truth, one of you eating with me will betray me." Greatly distressed, each one of them asked in turn, "Am I the one?" He replied, "It is one of the 12 who is eating from this bowl with me. For the Son of Man must die, and the Scriptures declared long ago. But how terrible it will be for the one who betrays me. It would be far better for that man if he had never been born." As they were eating, Jesus took some bread and blessed it, broke it into 12 pieces, gave it to the disciples by saying, "Take this is my body." So that is where we're going to leave off in Mark today. Let's go ahead and read our psalm for the day. We are reading Psalm 51. Have mercy on me, O God, because of your unfailing love, because of your great compassion. Blot out the stains of my sins. Wash me clean of my guilt, purify me from my sin. For I recognize my rebellion, it haunts me day and night. Against you and you alone I have sinned. I have done what is evil in your sight. You have proved me right in what you say, and your judgment against me is just. For I was born a sinner, yes, from the moment my mother conceived me. But you desire honesty from the womb, teaching me wisdom even there. Purify me from my sins, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. Oh, give me back my joy again. You have broken me. Now let me rejoice. Don't keep me looking at my sins. Remove the stain of my guilt. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Renew a loyal spirit within me. Do not banish me from your presence, and don't take your Holy Spirit from me. Restore me to the joy of salvation, and make me willing to obey you. Then I will teach your ways, and will turn to you. Forgive me for shedding blood, O God who saves. Then I will joyfully sing your forgiveness. Unseal my lips, that my mouth may praise to you. You do not desire a sacrifice, or I would offer one. You do not want a burnt offering. The sacrifice you desire is a broken spirit. You will not reject a broken and repentant heart. O God, look with favor at Zion and help her. Rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. Then you will be pleased with sacrifices offered in the right spirit, with burnt offerings and the whole burnt offerings. Then bulls will again be sacrificed on your altar. So that has been our psalm for the day. Let's go ahead and close out with Proverbs. We're closing out in Proverbs chapter 10, verses 31 and 32. The mouth of the godly person gives wise advice, but the tongue that deceives will be cut off. The lips of the godly speak helpful words, but the mouth of the wicked speak perverse words. So that has been day 67 of DZ's Daily Devotions. We're reading the Bible in 365 days, 1 year. Thank you so much for joining along with me. Before you leave, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can help support by going to www.patreon.com/YoungNemo. And I will see you on day 68.